You need to question yourself as a man. Are you becoming weak? Because the masculine drive of now today has been stolen by distraction, by weakness, by all these different temptations which the modern world tempt us with today. So I believe every man should sit with himself and ask himself, is he becoming weak? Are you becoming weak? Now, the reason you should ask yourself this question is because we have this sneaky mindset, this weakness mindset, this feminine mindset, which causes weakness to men. A lot of men are starting to think more like women, and they start to think more like women and in turn become weak, because the masculine mindset truly is one of honor, dignity, and integrity, and bravery, and strength. But it seems like we have lost that code. It seems like everywhere I look, there is men out here who have lost that code. They don't even know what these things are anymore. And I genuinely believe that this is a phenomena which causes society itself to collapse. Not even society, the households as well. It causes it all to collapse, because if we're not teaching men or boys these tenets as what it means to be strong, brave, and honor. I've never even heard these things in school growing up. I was never even taught these things in school. We were never taught bravery and honor and integrity and dignity and strength. All these things I was never taught in school. So I genuinely believe that we need to get to a point where we can start to teach this again. What are we coming to this world? When you look around, it's rampant weakness everywhere. We have to be so tolerable for weakness. They tell you to be so nice and meek and kind. Not necessarily even kind, but they tell you to be so nice. But being nice and kind and all these different things can only come from a position of strength. But instead, they genuinely want you to be weak. They want you to come from a position of of being weak, because if you're weak, you're easily able to be controlled. And that is what they need for society to run. These people need weak slaves who are not strong enough to think and strong enough to believe in our ideals so that they can make the conglomerate run. I genuinely believe that true masculinity is the ability to say no and defend yourself in saying no. I don't believe that being a man is all about making money, making a bunch of money. Of course, that's a tenet that is also in there, but first it needs to be physical strength. Because if you have an idea and you have a belief, you're going to have to fight for your beliefs. You're going to have to stand for something. You never know. And we always try to back ourselves out of violence. This modern world, we start to sit and say, oh, but the world isn't violent. Because when I talk about strength, they always say, oh, we don't believe in violence. Well, let a burglar come to your house. What will you do? Oh, you won't fight. Well, you'll call the police, wouldn't you? And what does the police will come and do? Come and grab that person out of your house by force, violence. So when I'm sitting here saying these things, it's because they're cowards. And I'm calling out their cowardness. You are a coward if you will not stand up and fight and be brave for your family or for your ideals itself, or spiritually, or whatever you spiritually believe in. If you're not even spiritually sacrificing yourself daily for what you believe in, then what are you even doing as a man anymore? What are you even standing for? So a lot of men are not even trying to create a family anymore, opting out of family for travel. Somebody came and told me that one of the people I knew decided not to have a family so they can travel. What are we coming to? This is bullshit. Since the dawn of human time, men wanted to become strong and do all this stuff for a family. Men sat out here and built these roads, built everything in existence, built everything out here for a family. You mean to tell me men now don't want to have family and kids and children, or even leave a legacy? They don't even want to try. They don't even try to do anything but travel and live. You're a hedonistic weasel. You're a weak link. So a lot of these men, their mindset is weak. This is why I keep talking about being a man. It comes from a position of strength. It's not always just having a bunch of money. If somebody was to come to this door or to this house with my family in, I would have to stand up and beat the shit out of them. And I will stand on that. And every man needs to start to train himself daily. A lot of people are just training to look good. I'm training to protect my family and protect anybody that comes to this house. I'm training so I can protect the women and children in society and stand up for the weak. A lot of men are just training just to look good. What are you even doing anymore? You're just like, the world we're coming to is starting to be baseless. It doesn't have any substance anymore. And I genuinely think it's come from this weakness. Weak men are ruining society as a whole. And not only this weak men, it's the weak men, which also is get lumped in with the women, which are easily programmable. It's weak men and women and children are easily programmable. Because when you truly want to stand for something, who do you want to come? You want some big fighting strong man. You want some strong leader man who has went through some things and went through hardship and know how to lead. Now we want women to lead. Now men are genuinely tricking themselves in their mind, telling themselves that they want a woman to lead. I've never heard some strong man sit down and say, I am strong, I am a leader, but I believe a woman is more strong and fit to lead than the strong man. What are we coming to? That's why I say this is the feminization mindset. Where in history has a woman been more fit to lead than a strong man? What are we coming to? So now people are genuinely, I'm talking about men who supposedly are supposed to be men, are now looking around and saying, I want a woman to lead us rather than a strong man. Any man in his right mind, when it comes down to high pressure situations, you will want a strong, stoic man who can handle the pressure. That's what you will want. If you wouldn't lie to yourself and try to believe in what society is telling you, if you wouldn't lie to yourself, all of this is the truth. And you know I'm saying the truth. You want some fighting, big, strong man to come and save the day. And that is the man that you should be. Every man should start to train, start to work on himself, develop some strength. The reason I talk about strength is because when we talk about all these different things in society in the world today, we talk about these things, but you can only be strong to even stand up. You can only be strong to speak out. How I'm doing. More of you need to speak out and quit being afraid. Afraid to be took from a job, a bullshit job. Fuck that job off. What are you afraid to speak for? Get on here and speak and talk about how the world is becoming. We're starting to become school shooting. All this garbage is going on. This is happening right now. And it comes from the weakness of society. We need to start to cut out the bullshit. We need to start to man up again, basically, because it comes from these weak men who keep allowing themselves and want to be hedonistic weasels, opting out for travel rather than trying to build a family. What are you even doing? Why? It pisses me off. And especially men who don't even train anymore. You're not even trying to train. You're basically telling me that you are perfectly fine with waking up weak. Men who don't even want to train and work on their mind. You're basically telling me that you want to wake up every single day and become weaker than the day before. You're basically telling me that you want to become weak. So any man in his right mind will sit and say, as a man, I want to be the best possible man I can be. How can I do that? Well, first I can work on my mental strength, get my mental health right so I can be strong and I can articulate myself in a certain manner and be able to stand strong on my beliefs. Second, I want to become physically strong so I can stand on my beliefs again. In case violence happens, or in case I have to stand up for my family, if someone come to this door out of self-defense, I have to be able to protect myself and protect my family. So any man that doesn't have those two things or don't even try and think about those two things, well, you're just a loser. You're just a loser. The reason I say you're just a loser because you're telling me you like being weak. Any man who's in his right mind will want to wake up and pump some iron, hit some push-ups, become stronger. Any man that isn't talking about becoming stronger, he's a hedonistic weasel. What are you doing then? Sitting, playing video games, smoking weed all day, jacking your cock off? That's all you're doing? Is that your life? Where's your integrity? Where's your integrity, your honor to your last name? I refuse to die as a peasant, a slave. Couldn't be Preme. I refuse to die weak. I refuse to be a weak person. I refuse. How can you live your possible existence being weak and controlled by everything, walking through life, not even being able to articulate yourself, not even being able to hold yourself in a high regard and stand up for what you believe in? Most of you are becoming weak, and it's caused by your lack of incompetence. Not only your lack of incompetence, your lack of trying. You're not even trying anymore. Why aren't you waking up and training? And any man that I see who is still a skinny neck dork and cannot fight or not even trying to build himself, then you just deserve to lose, my friend. And I sit and shake my head because I've never seen somebody go to the gym, pump some iron, become bigger and not get bigger. I've never seen a man go to the gym every day, hit some iron and not become strong. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. So when I see or look around these skinny neck dorks, these little hedonistic weasels who spend their whole lives just want to smoke weed and play video games, when I see these skinny neck dorks, I just sit and think, how? Why? That's what I sit and think. I sit and think, how? You didn't even try to go to the gym. And these are the same men complaining about all these mental health issues. Because look at your life. Of course you're depressed. Look at what you do every day. Because I think happiness as a man comes from achievement. I think when you achieve things in life, you become happy as a man. Waking up saying, what can I achieve today? Which will benefit my family, benefit myself, and benefit my future. This is what we have to stand for. If we're not, then what are we standing for then? You have to genuinely think. If you're not trying to do this for yourself or your future family or your family, what are you even doing? Or trying to help some people in society, help free some people, help strengthen some people, then what are you even doing? Living a life of bullshit. So this is why I say you have to ensure that you can get to a point of strength. Do everything out of position of strength. I refuse to be anything less than strong because I genuinely believe being strong is the only choice. It's the only possible way. It's the only route. Because when I hear all these different things about being humble and being nice and being kind, I'm like, you can only, and having loyalty, you can only do these things from strength. You can only do it from strength because I would argue a weak person is forced to be humble. But if that weak person had power, well, it's going to be a power trip. They're going to use their power corruptly because they were weak in the first place. So are they really even humble? Let's make you question. What's more humble, a man who is forced to be humble or a man who has the ability to destroy you, but still humble himself? Which is more strong? I would argue being strong is the only possible choice. Being strong is the right choice all of the time. I've never seen somebody wake up and say that they want to become weak. But that's what most of you do. That's how most of you live your lives. When you're telling me you don't want to wake up and train and become stronger and work on your mind and get intelligent. So when I think that's what you want to live as. You want to live weak then. Any man who's still walking around skinny neck dork, you want to stay weak? You want to be like that. And it angers me. Because I have to look at this from a whole different perspective and a whole different mind frame. Because I see a lot of men are just lost. They don't even know what to do with their lives anymore. They have no purpose. They have no place in life. They don't even know. And it truly comes from ignorance. It comes from the lack of knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Because you have to genuinely either go through the pain and suffering to learn these things and get taught by God as well by going through the hardship and learn these things, or you suffer the life of being ignorant and blind and living a life with no purpose and drive. And that's truly what's happening, because you can only learn this information that I'm saying. You either learn it the hard way sitting around studying every day, hard way, or you learn it the hardest way. God will slap you in the face over and over and over until you learn. Or you have people who just never learn and life just slaps them around so brutally and they have no place in life. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing a lot of people, especially I see it in the societies. I see it in the communities. I see it in the hoods. I see it everywhere. Men are now not having no purpose, no place. They think their only purpose is to wake up and just smoke weed and just do whatever they want. Where's your honor, your dignity, your integrity? Where's your fight? Like, it's amazing to me. I just couldn't live a life of being weak or being a peasant. A lot of men are peasants today, and they're perfectly fine with being a peasant. I am a king, and I will stand up for what's right, and I will stand up for the higher good. I will stand up for God. We need to have some integrity. We need to have some discipline. What happened to being disciplined? What happened to ass whoopings? A lot of men need their ass beat because we live in a world where men are now just saying and doing things. We used to get whoopings. We used to get whooped. We couldn't act out of line. I only got really whooped a couple times because you have to understand, any man with the threat of violence would act right. And when you're a kid and when you're a boy growing up, you have to understand, if I do X thing or if I say the wrong thing, I will get a whooping. This is now missing from society. Now we have men who's out here going and doing things and saying things and doing bullshit, shooting up schools and stuff and doing all this stuff without getting their ass beat. They're doing things and saying things which they know they feel like they won't face any consequences. And that's truly what's happening. I genuinely believe, and you know what, I'm about to stop. I'm not even about to filter anything. Most men need to get their ass beat to understand lessons. You cannot just go around saying and doing things. That is weak. Any man knows that there's a threat of violence back behind anything. I'm not about to go, especially I see this with women also. This is stupid. Women and weak men, they will say things to a man to provoke a man to incite violence and don't expect violence. Now, I even understand to a certain extent. I'm not going to go up to some strong man, or I'm not going to go up to a person, period, or anybody, period, and say things to try and stir up a fight and not expect that person to fight. I know as a man, as a strong man that I am, I know if I say something to the wrong person, we will get in an altercation or a fight. So why doesn't some women and weak men understand this? We're just walking through earth just saying things. Some people deserve to get slapped in their mouth. Because what are we coming to? Now, I'm not saying men should hit women. I'm not saying that, but I'm making a point. I'm making a broader point. Unless you have an infantile brain, that's the only thing you will hear. You would, dorks in the comments, is he saying to hit women? No, dummy. Get the broader point. Most of you have infantile brains. The broader point is, don't walk around saying things to provoke somebody. Don't walk around saying things to provoke somebody without thinking that person will smack you in your mouth. This is how reality works. So a lot of people need to start to shut up. You need to start to shut up. A lot of people should, because a lot of people are saying and doing things, trying to provoke violence without wanting to get the violent result. But that is your fault. And most weak men should be slapped around for that. Because this is just the harsh brutalities of the world. And if you truly don't understand what I'm saying, you're already doomed. I don't know. You're already doomed. If you don't believe we live in a world of violence, don't go to your court dates. Don't pay the government. Don't all of that. And see what they have, see what they do. They will come and drag you out of your house, force you into a car, and force you to prison. So any man that want to think that we don't live in a world of violence, you're absolutely dumb. If any person was to come inside of your house or anybody's house, they're going to call the police. What is the police going to come and do? Get that person out by force, by violence. So I'm saying you need to be strong and brave enough to stand for what you believe in. I'm not telling you to go out here and fight everybody and do all this bullshit. No, I'm just saying you need to be able to be strong enough. You need to be physically capable. You need to be mentally capable. You need to ask and question yourself, have you become weak? The society has drove men to become weak because we're now starting to be more tolerable for things. We have to tolerate everything. We have to tolerate seeing a man dressed up with a wig and want us to say that's a she. That's absolutely false and that's absolutely wrong and that's bullshit. We need to stop promoting this garbage. And we need to start to move towards truth. You need to look at objective truth. The objective truth is that is a man with the wig on. That's not a she. That is not a she. That is clearly a man. That is the objective truth. We have lost objective truth to now subjective weak realities. A lot of people, yes, sometimes reality has to be subjective for us to get through certain situations. For example, going through hardship, you start to subjectize reality so you can get through your hardship. That's different. I'm talking about people are now ignoring their own reality for the sake of some garbage which has been purported to them. Because somebody has come along and convinced them that somebody has come along and convinced them that is clearly not a man, that is a woman. And that's false. You know that's a man, and you need to stand on it, and you need to know that and believe that. They don't want you to believe your own eyes. They want you to ignore your eyes and ignore your ears. That's what they want you to do. They want you to be blind, and they want you to not hear. You cannot do that. You need to operate from a way of living in reality, because reality is here for you. And I'm going to transition, but reality is here for you. You have to become strong. You have to become brave. You have two binary choices as a man. You either go through the suffering of hardship and pain to become greater than ever before and emerge as a champion, or you go through the suffering and face the pain of regret. But either way, as a man, is pain. Either way, as a man, is hard. You either face the pain of being a nobody or you face the pain of trying. You have to make your choice as a man. You either suffer the pain of being weak or suffer the pain of being strong. You have to face this as a man. And that is the best route as a man, is to become strong. There's no possible other choice. Also, along with money, you can't just have money and be mentally weak and physically weak. No. You need to be able to kick some men's ass. Like I can. I'm going to end it right here. The free Telegram is out in the description. Anybody who understands the truth will be there. I don't want any slaves. I don't want any dorks. Everybody who understands the truth is inside the free Telegram, t.me/Preme Operations. We all gather there because this is a movement. This is absolutely a movement of truth. I'm only here to speak the truth, and I'm trying to set the truth out to wake some people up. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm just speaking the truth that I know out here to wake some people up. And if you absolutely agree with what I'm saying, or you understand the brutal, harsh truths of reality, you will be inside of my free Telegram. It's t.me/Preme Operations. That's where we're all gathering. I'll see you there.